I believe you were hesitant at first, correct?
Yeah, I was for a number of reasons, but I mean, obviously it worked out. You know, it's so intimidating in the beginning because you hear these big numbers about how many movies, and your brain goes to the worst possible scenario, as brains typically do, and you know, you imagine how much life will change and whether or not you can handle it, and my apprehension was about, you know, fear more than anything else, and I guess it's a really good example of not living according to fear, because it ended up being the best decision of my life.
And you know, we recently also got to talk to a friend of the Marvel family, Mark Ruffalo, who had some interesting insight into the movies, basically kind of saying that, you know, some of the actors had the chance to have conversations about the project and was able to provide feedback. What was that like? Were you able to do that as well?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes. I mean, the first couple movies in the Marvel world, I was just happy to be there. You didn't want to make waves, just kind of whatever they tell you, great, sounds good to me. And then, you know, somewhere around Civil War, you start feeling like, okay, maybe I can, well, how about this? But at the same time, I'm sure you guys all know, sometimes I think if, in success, I've seen actors veer out of their lanes and start doing things they shouldn't, and Marvel had proven themselves enough to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm not gonna make waves, and honestly, anytime they pitch me things, you know, I think around Civil War, it was Feige coming in the trailer. When was that? Was that on Ultron? You know, just saying, I think we're gonna do Civil War, and you say, okay, whatever you think, man, I'm in. By the got to Infinity Wars and Endgame, the Russos are the ones kind of pitching me ideas, and honestly, everything they ever pitched sounded good to me, so I never really felt the need to be like, let me give you some notes, fellas. You know, I was always like, yeah, hey, sure, keep doing it.
And if given the opportunity to go back, would you go back to the role, or do you
to the role?
Or do you think the story has been told?
Yeah, it's tough. Because look, I love that role. Deeply. It means so much to me, and I mean, do I think there's more Steve Rogers stories to tell? Sure, but at the same time, I'm very, very precious with it. I've become, you know, it's like this little shiny thing that I have that I love so much, and I just don't want to mess up in any way, and I was a part of something that was so special for a really special period of time, and in a way, it really landed so well, and, you know, I don't know, it's, as much as I'm connected to that role and love telling those stories and working with those people, it doesn't quite feel right now.
And you have, outside of Captain America, you have actually portrayed quite a few comic book characters, the Fantastic Four, some characters like Pilgrim, yeah. Is there something specific about comics and comic characters that really interest you, that made you take those roles?
Oh, thanks. I love you guys too. You know, I don't know. It wasn't the plan. I wasn't like comics. That's the road. You know, but the more you make those movies, the more research you do prior to the film, the more you realize you become a fan. You know, and you start to see what the fans see, and these amazing characters and great stories, and there's a starting point for the, you know, films are this. You have all these creative people coming together trying to operate on the same intangible idea. Comics give everyone a common ground to kind of say, we've all seen this, we all know how we felt when we read it, when we saw it, and that's the starting point. And that's a really, it's an incredible help when you're making a film. Not to mention the incredible built-in fan base, you know. Truly, I mean, honestly, it's the most satisfying thing to know that you're working so hard that people are gonna see it. People are actually going to go. At the same time, that's also one of the more daunting aspects, because you know that people are connected to the material in a very specific way, and you want to make sure you honor that. But I guess comics just have all the right ingredients for a good film.
We can all agree, yeah? And so you've also done quite a few stuff since Captain America. A new trailer recently came out for your movie Ghosted. Congratulations. Now, it looks like part rom-com, part action, part thriller, part adventure. It looks great. Can you maybe talk about, kind of what it was like to play a role that kind of does a little bit of everything and just like the experience with that project?
Sure. Yeah, that type of movie is very much up my alley. Recent Warning, a couple of writers who did Deadpool, they're fantastic. They pitched me the idea, and I was like, I love it. You know what I mean? It felt to me like a 90s movie. It felt like something that is just fun, and if it's done well, it's very rewatchable. Good hangover movie. And I don't know if I see those enough these days. We've entered a little bit of like not like a cynical, audiences have seen a lot, you know what I mean? And it's there's very high expectations, and sometimes movies like that are just great if they're done well. Anyway, I really liked it, and the role itself was really attractive too, just because I got to be so incapable. You know what I mean? He's the audience. It's always fun playing the eyes of the audience, and he's just, the more panicked I was, the more, the more I go to pieces. Not only the funnier it is, but the more connectivity you have to the people watching, because that's probably what most of us in here would do. Certainly what I would do in circumstances like that. So, yeah. Plus, getting to work with Anna again.
I was about to say, yeah. How was it working with Anna again?
She's fantastic. We've done a few things together now, and she's great. She throws herself into everything completely. The first action sequence we had, she was doing things that were on like Black Widow level, like truly unbelievable stunt work where I was like, wow, you've been doing your stunt training. She really went for it. I mean, we all saw that in Bond too. I mean, she was so good in Bond. She was so good, so charming, so effortlessly cool. So yeah, that was a bit of a no-brainer.
And you've also been able to recently voice a very classic Disney character, not too long ago. Yeah, kind of a new retelling of Buzz Lightyear. Can you maybe share some, something about maybe when you were recording? Did it feel very nostalgic for you to enter into a role that is so iconic to so many people?
Yeah, I mean, he says to infinity and beyond. I mean,
iconic.
You might as well be saying like life is like a box of chocolates or something. I mean, it's truly one of the more daunting things you have to do, which was great, terrifying, and all those things. But it was, when I first went to Pixar to get pitched the movie, they took me in a room and they showed me really rough sketch, this really rough animation where they have scratch recording, like they get another actor to come in and do the lines, and they have temp score and all this temp special effects sound, and they showed me this one sequence. But it's all those like hand-drawn, really, really rough, still frame animation. And I'm an animation nut. So I've seen dozens of, the makings of all these other animated films. So to be sitting in a room and seeing that type of presentation, but it's for me, you kind of, it's like the first time I went on a movie set. I've watched a million, in my upbringing, the behind the scenes of, but then you're on a film set and you're like, holy shit, this is happening, I can't believe I'm here. That was one of those moments where I just couldn't believe that I might get a chance to be a part of a Pixar movie. But obviously it comes with incredible pressure because it is such an iconic character. And that's one of those things where you just kind of, just like Marvel, you say, you know what, I'm gonna let you guys do what you do and I'll do my small sliver.
Probably safe to do
that. Yeah, exactly.
And so we've been talking about a few of your movies. However, you did recently do a series called Defending Jacob. Not only were you acting in it, but you also produced it. So I really want to know, what was it about this particular television series that you wanted to take on, and then producing it and acting in it?
Yeah, sometimes the people are the thing that push you over the finish line. I was doing a play in New York and I had met with Mark Bomback, the writer, and Morton, who was our director, and you know, it was a great book. It was a good suspense. There was a lot of engine to it. But the writer and the director were so fantastic, and it was, I mean, the book took place in Massachusetts, and it was, I just knew the family. I knew those people. It was familiar to me, and I really like the idea of limited series. You know, right now it's, when I came up in this business 20 years ago, you know, there was film and there was TV, and now TV, you know, I mean, the way we consume TV, specifically with streaming, specifically limited series, it almost feels like a chapter book, doesn't it? It feels kind of like you watch an episode, you share it with your friends, you absorb it, you process, you think about it, and then you get to revisit next week, and that's such a satisfying way to consume this medium. So I was eager to try and explore it a bit, and that show specifically had such good engine, such good cliffhangers at the end of each episode. And like I said, it was a family that I recognized. So I was curious to dip my toe, and as I said in the beginning, Mark Bomback and Morton Tilden, the directors, were just fantastic people that I really responded to.
And speaking of producing, do you have any do you have any plans to maybe do more of that in the future and on future projects?
Producing? Oh, God, it's just a lot of work, isn't it? You know what I mean? There's some actors out there that just have production companies and they produce this and that. It's like, good for you guys. I don't know how early you guys are getting up in the morning, but yeah, I guess. I mean, my agents are like, why don't you produce one? I'm like, I don't know. Look, I love what I do, and I'm blessed to do what I do. But unfortunately, what I do is also giving me a little bit of freedom. and the truth is, more than anything else, what I like is just time with my family. And you know, I feel very regular for I don't live in Hollywood. And I imagine as many of you, you know, like it's an exciting business and it's great and it's wonderful, but to be someone that is constantly, you know, to finish this. Last year I did 3 movies. Never again. It's too much. It's too much. Just from job to job to job. It's just, you know, you really gotta, not that I don't love it, I don't want to diminish like my passion for it, but at the same time, you know, what do you want to call it? You don't want to call it mental health, because that almost sounds like the industry is not good for you. I love it. But at the same time, like the stillness away from it, the personal time I take with friends and family is just as important to me. So, in a really serpentine answer, I don't know if I have the capacity or the bandwidth to be someone who's constantly producing 100 balls in the air. It's just not my nature.
Talk a little bit about Christmas, because you're going to be in the Christmas movie with Dwayne Johnson, and and it's your first Christmas movie.
It is. I've been in this industry for, well, too long, but I've never seen a Christmas movie.
You've never seen? So
well, I've never seen a Christmas movie come across like it's never been on my radar. They happen, they're occasional, but it's never been something that's come my way. So the fact that this one popped up, I was like, look, I can't say no to this. I just can't. And Dwayne is just unbelievable. He's such a nice guy. He's incredible at what he does, actually. He's so funny. He's really charming and really knows what he's great at and does it really, really well. And Jake, the director, is just fantastic, and the script is really funny, and you know, there was scheduling, you know, tough decisions had to be made, and you're just kind of like, you know what, I can't pass up a Christmas movie. I've been doing this too long. I've never seen a Christmas movie come across my, I don't have a desk, I was going to say my desk. My agents never called me with a Christmas movie, and I just was like, I got to take this opportunity. And it was fantastic. It was one of the best working experiences I ever had. I actually was worried, is this going to is this gonna ruin Christmas for me? You know what I mean? Because it's so special. Do I really want to see my mug every Christmas? But I'm like, oh, this idiot. But I'm telling you, it was, every day was Christmas, and when it wrapped, I was like, aw, it's over. Believe me, I couldn't get enough of it. So yeah, it was a great decision, and God, I hope it comes out well.
Do you have a favorite Christmas movie? Are you a Hallmark Christmas movie kind of person?
This is tough. Okay, what would I say? The ones that I want to watch just for the bite-sized movie, like the Grinch. You gotta go Grinch. You gotta go Charlie Brown. You gotta go Rudolph. In terms of like full-length movies, I think A Christmas Story's the crown jewel. But I'm a Christmas Vacation guy too. Right there. But that came out at a time where, what year did that come out? Who knows? Was it 91? So for me, I felt young. I felt like the older, cooler kids liked Christmas movies, so I was always like, oh, well, like that's for grown-ups. You know what I mean? That's the Christmas movie the cool kids like. So I have a real soft spot in my heart for a Christmas movie as well. Christmas Vacation. Christmas movie.
Again, another classic. Now, my next question. Very, very important. You're a dog dad. And I think we all adore Dodger content. Sure. Who is a fashion icon. Because what has he got now? He's got the sweater from Knives Out, the shrunken shirt from Gray Man. What's the next piece? What's the next fashion statement for Dodger?
It's gonna be tough. I mean, well, like I said, I did 3 movies last year, but in Ghosted, that outfit isn't terribly exciting. Pain Hustlers, I just wear suits all day. I don't think I can squeeze Dodger in that. In Red One's kind of cool. Red One's one of those one outfit movies. You know what I mean? The whole thing happens in one day, so you're just wearing. And I have this pretty cool leather jacket. Maybe I could get a shrunken leather jacket. Where do I get a doggy?
That'd be so cute.
Yeah, that's the next one. He hates it though. Let's be honest. You guys, come on, you guys who have dogs, you put your dog in an outfit, he's
just frozen, right?
I get a hold of New York strip steak and be like, Dodger, come here. And he's like, frozen. He hates it. Yeah, but we'll keep doing it now.
Now we do have some fan questions from our Twitter account, so thank you to everybody who participated and submitted a question on Twitter. So let's go to our first fan question here. It'd be from Eileen Philippi. If you could remake your favorite movie, what would it be and what character would you play?
It's a good question.
I haven't seen the movie!
Oh, right! Yeah, sometimes you gotta put a banana in your butt. What was it? What's my favorite? What would I? Sorry, I guess.
Yeah, no. If you could remake your favorite movie, what would?
Right.
Oh, so I wonder, is it just like is it like maybe just your favorite movie in general, and what character would that be?
Because look, our favorite movies are our favorite movies because I don't want to see them remade. You know what I mean? Like I don't want anyone to remake Pulp Fiction. Because I do think there are some movies that are almost ripe for a kind of reinvention for a younger generation. I'll be the first to admit when I heard they were remaking Jumanji, being like, how dare you? And then it was great. You're like, all right, okay, that's actually, I guess, okay, Chris, relax. But like I said, you're not remaking Pulp Fiction. I don't know, I really like Little Shop of Horrors. That movie, I wouldn't mind seeing that one remade just because I want to be in it. I really like Clue. Are they remaking it? I don't know. I've only read things, but a movie like that I think could be reintroduced. Just the format of it, but again, to some degree, it's almost perfect don't touch it. You know, I don't know. It's tough when it comes to remakes because I'm very protective of the things I love. But sometimes there's room to reinvent and reintroduce to younger generations.
I'm curious though, what character in Clue?
God, I don't know. I don't think I'm good enough to play any of them. Maybe Miss Peacock.
All right, our next question comes from Nerd Girl Jen. If you could give Ransom a sequel to Knives Out, what would it be about?
A sequel to Knives Out for Ransom? Good question. Well, it can't be like a redemption story. No one wants to see Ransom find redemption. He's a bad guy. Maybe, what would it be? Maybe he gets out of jail off of like some sort of like high-priced lawyer's loophole. But then like, maybe he goes good. You know what I mean? Like Sideshow Bob like runs for office. Like, but it's an elaborate plan to actually take down Benoit Blanc and Marta.
I was going to say, is it going to be revenge?
It's revenge in plain sight, you know what I mean? It's this, what was that?
Get Ryan Johnson on the phone.
Oh, pitch it! Well, maybe he'll see this.
Our next question comes from C. Evans Falcon. Between Curtis in Snowpiercer and Mike in Puncture, both very complex characters, which role did you find more challenging and why?
Good question. They're both kind of dark characters. Mike Weiss in Puncture is based on a real man, so you know we had to. You're meeting his family, you're meeting friends, you're meeting people that knew him, which is intimidating because you're taking a story that's obviously dear to them and trying to, you don't want to say use it, you're trying to elevate it, but at the same time, there's no denying that you are treading in waters that are unfamiliar and you got to be respectful for that. I'd say Curtis in Snowpiercer, though, he feels a little more haunted to me, a little more, you know, he has the weight of the world on his shoulders in a really dark way, so I'll say Curtis.
And finally, our last fan question comes from Joe Lopez, 2196. How often, if at all, have you come across actors or actresses in Hollywood with an attitude similar to your character, Lucas Lee?
God, luckily I haven't met anyone too similar to Lucas Lee. What a fun movie that was. And honestly, one of my favorites. That was such a good time. Everyone on that movie just got along so well. And honestly, it's because of y'all, really. I mean, like that movie, it didn't really perform in the box office, did it? You know, and I remember the first time I saw it, I had just landed in London to start work on Captain America, and they were like, oh, they're doing a screening for Scott Pilgrim, you want to go? And I had my two buddies from Boston who were my assistants on that job. It was basically like being sleep till noon and then like stumble into set for free lunch. But they came with me to the screening, and we walked out of the screening and they were like, you're finally in a good movie, man. And we thought it was going to be, I was like, this is going to be a slam dunk. This is going to be like a generation-defining movie. And it kind of didn't make an impact, which is crazy, but it did have an incredible cult following, which is so lovely because we had such a good time making it, you know what I mean? And that's why recently Edgar and Brian emailed everyone. That email chain is alive too. We're all on that email chain. We always, you know, it never goes cold for too long, but they were like, hey, we're doing a cartoon. You guys in? And everybody was like, sure, yeah, no problem. Not even a question, like not even a hesitation. Like there was truly, everyone jumped in without a thought. So excited to do that. But no, in terms of have I met anyone like that? No. Who did we, I mean, I don't want to like disparage anybody, but you know, when I first met when I met Edgar Wright, he did reference Steven Seagal, and he was like, you know, someone who's just probably relatively consistent in the roles he plays, and you know, maybe even be that same way Offset too. You know? we watched a few Seagal movies and had a good laugh, and so that was the archetype. No, but since then I have not met anyone who fits that mold, luckily.
Chris, thank you so much for joining all of us here at C2E2.